G'day, it's only been a minute since I've done a video about transfers and whatnot. Not so on Sava's stream mid last week, so big ups to Sava once again. But in terms of moves and whatnot, Hugo Ekitike does look like it is a pretty much near guaranteed move now, with Romano reporting that there is a here we go, that everything is in place. You see on screen here breaking that there is a deal in place for a fee of over 90 million euros. I think that's total potentially reaching 95 million. And I think the initial fee is 69 million pounds, if I'm not mistaken, or something to that effect. So it's a lot of money for a player who's still young, 23 years old, highly touted. Newcastle were looking at him to come in and play alongside Isak before Isak's departure at some point, or they're going to bring him to play together. Or people are going to say that Newcastle played 4D chess and went for Ekitike in order to have Liverpool say, well, if you're not giving us Isak, we'll take your target. It's like, haha, jokes on you. We never wanted him to begin with. So people can make of that what they will. But 6-year deal apparently valid until June 31, and he only wanted to join Liverpool Football Club. So yeah, I mean the thumbnail may say Hugo Boss in a pun, obviously, with his name being Hugo and Hugo Boss, and Scousers saying everything's just Boss that. I don't know if he's gonna be Boss. That's a lot of money to come into a club and try and perform. We know Wirtz is coming in for big dollars as well, or pounds or euros, and he comes with maybe more of a basis of a player that is complete in the sense who has achieved some things already in his career, whereas Ekitike coming in at a young age as well, whilst he's has been a solid player with Marmoush at Frankfurt before Marmoush's move to Man City, was playing well, 16 goals, 9 assists, whatever it is. There's potential there, but again, are we looking for a potential player or do we want a win now player? I think in Darwin Nunez, who coincidentally, as I saw this just before I decided to record this video from David Lynch, saying Liverpool are currently contesting a behind closed doors friendly with Stoke City at the AXA. They lead 4-0 at halftime thanks to a Darwin Nunez hat-trick and Rio Negumawa goal. Florian Wirtz is also taking part. It's mad to think that Darwin Nunez has now decided to start playing football on the basis that a new striker could be coming in to take his position. It's almost like Darwin Nunez took that personally. It's like the Michael Jordan meme, and I took that personally. Now, obviously, it's behind closed doors. It is Stoke City. Some people in the comments saying, wow, Darwin Nunez hat-trick against Arsenal, with the comparisons of them being, the London Stoke City. But the new striker is something that we do need. I've said it plenty of times. So who comes in? Is it going to be Isak? Is it going to be Ekitike? Are you going to stick with Darwin? I don't know. There is still a chance Darwin gets sold to the Saudis or somewhere else. I mean, Napoli was scratching around, but then they decided to drop their interest, and now we sit there and wait and think, okay, what are we going to do now? So the Ekitike news is big. That there's big dollars there. That's a lot of money to be paying for someone who's, I want to say they're raw but still unproven. Like, you're spending a lot of money, but when you're seeing people like Kudus go for 55 or 60 mil, Manueke is going for 52, you've also got the likes of Eze potentially going for 50, 60 odd as well. It looks about right, but the way they spin it to say, oh, it's euros and it's going to cost more and there's extras and whatnot, initially it's a 69 million pound fee, from what I read, if I get that correctly. But eventually, everything will rise to like 95 million euros. So I don't know how true or how correct that may be, but that's what's being reported here. As Anfield Talk says from Build, deal just needs to be formally finalized and approved by the boards of both clubs, around 95 million. So wait and see what happens on that front there. Some other things that I had saved here. There you go. 69 million plus 9 million in add-ons. Talks continue over the structure of the add-ons. So there it is there. And yeah, that's probably what it's going to come down to. It was going to be 70 odd, 80 odd, and then pump that up to about 90 mil. So there you go. And of course, people are going to use the fee or the currency that looks more expensive and costs more than the other. Obviously, if it's 95 million euros, people are going to use the pounds. I think pounds is more than, if I'm not mistaken, one way around. Someone correct me in the comments if you do read this. I can't be asked doing the comparisons while I'm recording this now and go back and edit. I'm just being lazy right now. So yes, that's potential there. So that's what's happening. Hugo Ekitike potentially on his way to Liverpool Football Club as our new striker. Darwin Nunez's role, well, that is unknown at the moment. And another person's role that is unknown is Alexander Isak. And apparently from Indicator News, saying that at the morning for Newcastle, Isak was wandering around looking upset. Sources stating Alexander Isak asked for a meeting with Eddie Howe around 11 to discuss his future. Isak keen on playing for Liverpool. Isak was dropped for the Celtic game. He feels he's being treated unfairly or something or other. Apparently didn't want his poor attitude around the squad. They're disappointed with his actions. Eddie Howe understands Isak's position and would be willing to let him leave. However, the club owners have a different stance. So whether Isak is going to be coming to Liverpool potentially, maybe slim chance with the Hugo Ekitike, well, that would be something, because that would actually show that Liverpool are actually serious about what they want to do in this transfer window. They're serious about what they want to actually be, going towards. I've said it before, Liverpool, they've got to the top and then they've sort of we've dropped and we haven't really continued where we've needed to go. So this way, spending big dollars, people say, oh, Liverpool buying the league. Buying the league on money that we've earned through revenue, through profits, through player sales, and just not spending in a year or two as well. Apparently that's a bad thing. So now they're trying to shame Liverpool Football Club for spending money that they've got saved up because they can't do shit because they're tin pot clubs. Or now they're feeling the heat that, hang on, someone else, Liverpool are actually looking like a serious club, so we need to be wary of them. All right, cool. We need to be wary of them. I saw this tweet earlier. Lee Gunner said, let's all laugh at Liverpool for spending 95 million euros on a striker after spending 100 million euros on a midfielder after pissing the title last season. Don't worry though, guys. We've done sensible business by buying Norgard so we can unlock Madueke, state of this clown base. Now, people will say Gyökeres is the main target there for Arsenal. He's the player going in. And funny enough, apparently, some news has come about that Gyökeres is maybe not completely on his way to Arsenal, that Manchester United are potentially looking to hijack this. I don't think it's going to happen. I do think he ends up at Arsenal, but it's funny that it's more and more reported now that this is a potential thing there. So negotiators between Sporting Arsenal are still at a standstill. United have submitted a higher offer. Manchester are close to an agreement. I don't know how valuable or valid this is, or how accurate or how reputable, but this is the news there. And if this doesn't happen, if this happens and Gyökeres goes to Man United instead of Arsenal, you best believe it is going to be peak times online from Arsenal fans if this were to happen. But alas, I do not think it's going to happen. Now, let's get back to the Lee Gunner tweet there. So that was what he said there. That's what he said. Some Arsenal fans saying they're embarrassed. Some Arsenal fans say, but it's good business. But this here from Samuel says, why can't Arsenal fans have self-awareness like Lee? He's the only few who don't try and banter us or make excuses about failure or talk about spending. Because as much as maybe Liverpool fans and myself in the past, we wanted to always say, oh, how can City, they buy a player for 60 mil, doesn't work out, sell him, buy another player for another 60, 70 mil. Oh, this player didn't work out, buy another one. Oh, we need more, buy another one. Oh, we need this, buy another one. That's what the clubs do. You have to spend money to win big, unfortunately. It's not like just being the best team out there and just trying to make do. I mean, Leicester come once in a blue moon. No pun intended with the Man City links there. But there's only so much you can do as a football club without spending big dollars. So, crazy. And of course, people try to banter you and tell you otherwise and say, well, Liverpool spent, 80 mil on Darwin and he flopped. Then they're going to spend 90 mil on another striker and he's potentially going to flop because he's not as good, etc., etc. I'm just thinking to myself, okay, really, is this what we're doing now? We're at this level where we're just going to be taking the piss at one another and not actually paying attention to what is actually going on. It's actually crazy. It's actually crazy. But the whole thing where Liverpool fans were actually thinking that Isak was going to sign for Liverpool Football Club. Yeah, I don't think Isak was ever going to be. As I said, it was a pipe dream. It was a maybe. It was a wonder. It was a maybe that could happen. But definitely not. Definitely not something that would be on the up there. And of course, people will always look at the comparisons of what they said about a player when they were linked as opposed to when they're not. And another example here. I don't know who this person is. This Jonathan fella here, but. Small follower, nothing crazy, but look at it. Ekitike is having a great season, 16 goals, 6 assists, technical ability, blah, blah, blah. I think he's overall a better fit for Arsenal than Sesko or Gyökeres, but then on July 18th, being just the other day, Isak is bang average player, Salah's 33 going to AFCON, Verts is a top player, Frimpong average, Kirkes is a good player, Only 2 centre backs. I'm not even sure this squad is better than last season. Talking about Liverpool, Ekitike is a bang average player, but then he says having a great season. So is he an average player with a great season, or is he a decent player having a decent season? Of course, you're always going to get flip flops out there, but that's pretty much what I've got to cover here. The striker situation again. Darwin scoring a hat trick behind closed doors. Can he maintain that form if he stays? And look, we don't have strikers. We have Darwin, and that's it. Ekitike comes in, we're boned in a striker's role. Unless Isak actually is a potential target and there is some actual truth to what is potentially there, maybe, or thereabouts, I don't know. I think for Liverpool fans, we can only hope that there is still something left for Isak. However, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Ekitike signs big money and there's big expectation as well. Like I said at the start, Vert's coming in with some basis. You actually know where these players come from and what he's about in terms of, Ekitike. I have not done no ratings. I have not done no analysis. I don't do Y Scout stuff. I just hear and read and see what's out there. And a lot have said his link-up play is good. His technical ability is great. Maybe alongside a Verts, a Mo Salah, a Diaz if he stays. That's another player I didn't mention just then. Bayern Munich is still looking to buy him. Is there still a possibility of that happening? Who the hell knows? I have no idea what's going on there. But if we sell Diaz, then do we go back for Anthony Gordon, maybe from Newcastle? Or do we push forward for Rodrigo from Real Madrid? All these things can still yet happen. Remember, it's only July. There's still a few weeks left of the window. So there's still a lot of football business that can be done up until then. But it's looking good, and rival fans and can cry and cope, and Professor Hamza, the professional crybaby, will say 100 million player, most expensive this, most expensive that. Doesn't change the fact that you're a fraud and a crybaby and bitch and moan every time something doesn't go right for Man City. And then, as Husam says, one day Muslim, one day Christian. And speaking of Husam, one more little shout out here before we wrap things up. This was from his stream earlier on with Dan Potts. Big up to the both of them. But he said something here that makes sense that I want to use as a clip here, as a bit, because I said the other day, maybe a couple of weeks ago now, football news is too repetitive. The same things keep going on again. It's the same bits of news that keep on being rehashed, and it's just oversaturated, and there's a lot of stuff that keeps on coming through. And even I dropped a comment as well. I said, it's the multiple streams of the same things over minimal information. It's oversaturated and repetitive, as to my complaints, at least, why I have stopped paying attention to such streams, because there's only so much I can listen to, or you probably can listen to, of people talking about the same thing on different channels and different platforms with no real new information. If something new actually comes out, like substantial, like, okay, we have confirmation of an acceptance of a bid, cool, speak about it, do your lives and whatnot. But every day talking about ifs, buts, and maybes, or hypotheticals, or what ifs, does get repetitive. But this is what they said. Let's have a quick listen here. Make sure my audio is set up correctly here so we don't have any issues, and thankfully I did check that. So this is what he said.
He cannot stand it. This is the equivalent
and
of...
the thing is, Dan, this is an educational moment as well to everyone in the chat. Look, if me and Dan Potts, and he'll tell you this right now, if me and Dan Potts were to only wait for Here We Goes to do a video, we'd have done I would have done 4 videos on my channel, he'd have done 3 videos on his. We're here to talk to you guys during the summer about the news, what could happen, hypotheticals. Sometimes, by the way, for the first 2 weeks of the transfer window, we were talking about Rodrigo to Arsenal. All of a sudden, 2 weeks later, it's Rodrigo to Liverpool.
So the point there, for the first 2 weeks, imagine talking about the exact same thing for 2 weeks straight with no real movement, no real change of direction. Everything was still as is. Rodrigo fancies Arsenal. Rodrigo would think to move there. Are they going to sell Trossard? Are they going to sell Martinelli? Are they going to get Madueke instead? And this is before the Madueke news. But for 2 weeks, talking about the same thing, for me at least, in my opinion, is a bit overdone. My opinion.
We can only speak about news and what's going to happen. When Ornstein comes out and says Isak to Liverpool, what's myself and Dan supposed to say? Nothing about it. Just sit back and go like, this might happen. Maybe it will happen. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe. Bye. That's not how content works. You have to speak. You have to address things. You have to give your opinions. Hey, Husam, what do you think if you sign?
I get it. That's a little bit. I get it. Like I said, I understand you need to speak about these things, but it's just the repetitive nature. Like, yeah, you spoke for 2 hours about the one topic, and then you have a break. Then you're gonna speak to somebody else about the exact same topic. Like, I have not learned anything new. I've just heard you explain it to somebody else, and that's it. My opinion, at least. Maybe that's a little bit cynical, but that's how I view the situation. But that's the video there. A bit of a ramble on here, but that's pretty much it there. So that's it. Ekitike signing for Liverpool. Yes, looks like that is happening there. No clickbaits and none of this shit as well. I might as well show you this one final thing because it just absolutely annoyed the shit out of me this morning here. Isak to Liverpool confirmed? Question mark, exclamation mark. It's on with a tick, and now we've signed Hugo Ekitike. So which one is it? Is it confirmed or isn't it? Fucking clickbait hyperbolic crap. Terry and the Football Terrace nonsense as usual with these stupid facial reactions for his thumbnails. It just pisses me right off, man. But I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you for watching. Drop your likes, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll catch us on the next one. Bye.